It's impossible to be a passive spectator at Moguls. The event is sold out and simmering with excitement for a sport that mixes music and madness on skis.
We're back here chatting with Liz McIntyre, Olympian, and we've talked now about your skiing career, but there's a little more to you than dropping knees on rifle sight right now. You do a pretty active role with our community. You serve on a few boards, and a big passion of yours has been environmental sustainability. And we talked with Peggy Smith a little earlier in the show about some of the projects Fraser's doing to become more environmentally conscious. And what are some of the, I guess you've got a background there.
Yeah, well, I've always been interested in how we use our resources. I went to Dartmouth, helped with a recycling program there, studied environmental studies there, but also really personally, I think, for me, the glacier I won my first World Cup on in Teens, France, it was a slope on a glacier, is gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
That's heartbreaking.
And it was gone. I think my first World Cup there was maybe '86, and here the last time I was there was probably maybe 2002, and it's gone. I mean, that's not a big span of time. And their lifts are hanging. It used to be a surface lift, and they had the pylons on these piles of rocks, and as the glacier melted down, the snow in between those piles of rocks just got lower and lower, and the lift is like 80 feet in the air. So I ended up taking out that lift and having to put new lifts.
When you say
down.
surface lift, like total?
Like a T-bar.
T-bar, yeah,
Pama.
wow.
And so it's changed skiing there completely.
How sad,
And so that becomes more of a motivating factor for me. Climate change is kind of a big deal
right.
if you live in a ski community.
It's obviously in the news. I don't know if it's climate change or what it is, but like Tahoe, those resorts have had a rough few years with droughts and warm temperatures and stuff like that. And so we always wonder, is there changes going on that are going to really affect some of our fellow ski communities?
So anyway, I'm now, but I'm also sort of interested in sort of how technology and platforms change, how we use resources, how we interact, and so I'm on the board of Mountain Parks Electric, and I also do some grant writing. I helped Winter Park get their electric vehicle charging station in the parking lot just outside here.
Yeah.
And then one out in Kremling so that people going towards Steamboat could stop at Kremling and have a meal. And
Winter Park to Kremling to Steamboat?
Yep. So
how are they getting used?
Well, I don't know how much they're getting used.
I didn't know if they could monitor, had any statistics that they could...
Well, some of them do. We put in dumber stations just due to the cost.
Okay.
So that one will have a smart card in it in Cooper Creek so we can see if they're getting used. It's sort of a chicken and an egg sort of thing. If there aren't any stations, no one's going to buy any cars.
Especially in electric. I mean, you don't just...
Well, they're getting better and better. And but people want to know, that they can plug in when they come somewhere.
Turner says next year hybrid sales are going to be up 40% is expected or something like that. So it's definitely going that way slowly. But.
Yeah. I mean, the price of gas matters, but frankly, so we have an electric car and
we do.
A Volt, and it has a little gas engine in case you are short on your charge. Right. But it's actually really fun to drive. I mean, people will say they get them for, whatever reason. But actually, it's clean. It's not noisy. You never have to service it. When you hit the gas, it goes, and they're fun to drive.
I was thinking
so
of
there are
golf
a lot
carts.
of,
you get in a gas golf cart nowadays, and it's just like you smell the pollution. It's like, hopefully someday that's how we think of cars. We love our electric car because you get in the gas car, it's like this thing's a beast.
And you also, you pull it into your garage and you plug it in. You never go to the gas station. You never get out and step in a puddle of diesel or gas or get your hands dirty on the thing. I mean, it's like, would you run your toaster on a gas, engine if you could? No, you like to have it plugged in,
So solar, speaking of toasters and plug, do you do any solar power?
We have solar as well. The cost of solar's come down really.
Peggy mentioned possibly a solar garden. Is that kind of like what you see outside of the Denver airport? There's solar panels everywhere. Is that...
Well, so those are specifically to offset the airport, some of the airport's energy. But a community solar garden would be where people could buy in.
Oh, okay.
And so they don't, because we're a resort community, a lot of people have condos and the roofs aren't necessarily situated to get good solar exposure. They're trees. So the idea is you locate some, in a good location where there's not a lot of shade and it's the right exposure, and then people buy into that in lieu of putting it on their roof. This is an ongoing project, not necessarily Fraser's, but Mountain Parks has looked at this. There are some contractual issues with our power supplier and how the finances work, but it is getting more and more affordable.
People talk about it, and there's more to it, right? You can't just throw it on your roof and be done if there's trees around, if it's not aimed the right direction. But are other towns kind of going this route too in their neighborhood?
Yeah,
greater neighborhood.
Yeah, Yampa Valley. So the Yampa Valley Electric has one for folks in Steamboat and Craig out there. They have one. Telluride has one. Holy Cross, which serves the Vail community.
Okay, so this has been
it's going on.
more of a
I'm
standard
not sure
in Colorado.
Colorado has pretty. They were pretty much out in front on the policy of community solar gardens, so the legislature took some steps to sort of encourage it. It also makes sense if you're a renter. You can actually buy into a solar garden, and then when you decide you're going to move to a house or move out of the community, you can sell your part of it.
Oh, it's actually got
value.
So
it's transferable.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it makes
sense. So what other projects are you, what other technological advances in, as far as making our lives a little more conscientious?
Well, I don't know. What else am I doing? Prior to being on the Mountain Parks Board, I was the community energy coordinator. And so we were a little pushing the curve on retrofitting lighting to LEDs. We did a project here in Cooper Creek, and with some other businesses. Randy's did it. The B&B did it. Who else did it? So sort of
identifying areas that we can improve and
sort of getting the technology out there and
so you've had a very active role in our community. You mentioned you're on the Fraser board. Was that
right back in the 90s? I was on the Fraser
so ever
board.
Since you moved here permanently in
1990, yeah.
And so you've always had a very active role in our community and continue to do so. So what's summer mean to you? What are you doing for fun in the summer? You can't ski year round.
Yeah,
you
ride
can.
my bike.
You can go to Steamboat. You can go other places. I know where you go. So you're a mountain biker or a road biker?
Both. One of my favorite. I have two favorite road rides probably, and one is going up in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Okay.
Riding Trail Ridge. I mean, spectacular.
Just incredible.
Pavement's really good.
Terrifying or
no, not at all.
Okay.
And it's different because for the most part the cars are going more slowly.
That's true.
So there's not a shoulder,
it's
but
a more tourist road to where they're taking their time,
not always,
other passes where they're screaming.
And if you can go not on a weekend, it makes a huge difference. But the scary thing actually is the weather. You have to be very flexible in saying, you know what, I don't think I'm going to go to the top today because if I do, I'm going to get hypothermia on the way down because there's lightning or whatever. You have to watch the afternoon storms.
Oh, well over 10,000 feet. This isn't, just cruising on a rainy day.
And if you really have it in your head, you're going to make it to the top that day. That's the day it'll turn on you, and then you stop having expectations and you make it up every time. So
well, Liz, thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us on the show. It's been a real pleasure and honor to meet you. I mean, I can't believe I got to touch an Olympic medal. That just is really cool.
Well, thank you for having me and good luck with the show.
And thanks to Granby. Or Granby Chamber of Commerce is one of our key sponsors as well. So we love the city of Granby. They've been great, and will you come back and hang out with us one of these days?
Absolutely, and enjoy the sushi. I should tell you, Fernand used to ski moguls. He was on the World Cup.
Well, there we go. We might have to pick his brain a little more about that. So, well, thanks so much, and hopefully maybe the next interview we'll do from a lift chair somewhere.
Sounds good.
So thanks, Liz, and Liz McIntyre, silver medalist, Lillehammer Olympics 1994. With that, we'll take a break, and we're going to get out of the studio and go see a couple shops and restaurants around the area here. So stick with us. We'll be back.
Scores arriving, and 25-8-9. Not enough. Not enough.
But there's nothing wrong with silver medal for Liz. Great performance.